When people see our list of where we're going to go sailing, everyone, almost everyone says, "Oh, I would just love to go to Bora Bora. It's beautiful, it's exotic, it's remote. It's also a little expensive. We've been there before and we're going back again for the first time since 2017. So today we want to talk about Bora Bora."
Welcome to the What Could Go Right podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Orton.
And I'm Emily Orton.
And here we talk about personal growth and sailing. In 2014, we moved aboard a fixer-upper sailboat and bootstrapped a year sailing with our 5 kids, and it changed our lives forever.
We tell the whole story in our memoir, our book, 7 at Sea. On this podcast, we want to help you go from fear to freedom, one adventure at a time. Welcome back to the What Could Go Right show. I'm Emily Orton.
And I'm Eric.
And we are excited to talk about Bora Bora. Like Eric mentioned, the first time that we went there, and so far the only time, was in 2017. And do you want to tell how we did that trip?
Yeah, so we had just gotten off living on a sailboat as a family. It had been a few years, but not many. And a friend who was actually one of the first, him and his wife were one of the first couples we ever took sailing before we lived on Fezziwig, our boat. He's like, hey, he hit a milestone birthday and wanted to do a big trip. And so we got together a group and said, hey, would you be willing to be the skipper? And we're all going to go to Tahiti. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we flew to Tahiti. From there, you get a hopper over to Raiatea. And Raiatea is where we got our boat. And then we sailed out to Bora Bora and back for the week. And it was my first time going somewhere that far. It was big, big water, beautiful place. And so anyway, it came about just because of somebody that asked if I'd be willing to skipper. And at that time I was. And we had a great experience, and we're excited to go back. So we can share a little bit about what we loved from that trip and what we're looking forward to on this one.
Yes, I want to talk a little bit about this upcoming trip because there are a couple of things that are different about it. It's the only trip that we're taking in 2026 to French Polynesia. It's the only one-way trip that we're taking, meaning when we arrive, we will fly into Tahiti, take a hopper to Raiatea, pick up the boat in Raiatea, and then just sail towards Bora Bora. And then when we are done, we will leave the boat in Bora Bora and everyone fly home from there. So if you want to come and you want to stay in one of those over-the-water bungalows that you've maybe seen in ads or on screensavers, like that's the place, Bora Bora.
Yeah, and so just to get oriented, if you don't know where Bora Bora is, yeah, you go to Tahiti and it's west of there. And like Emily was saying, if you've ever seen these screensavers, there are several resorts that have been built inside the lagoon of the island of Bora Bora. And they just have these overwater bungalows with pathways that kind of connect them all together.
Like little wooden.
Yeah, and they, some of the bungalows will have your own infinity pool, and they bring I think the one of our friends that was on this trip in 2017 said, wow, because they stayed there I think a few days before they got on the boat with us. And they said, those people are really good at helping you part ways with your money. So just, be warned, it's not a cheap place to go. But it's a beautiful place to go.
Yeah, this is actually our most expensive trip of 2026.
By far.
And maybe we can talk about why it's so expensive, and then we could talk about what we love about it.
And why we think it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's about 50% more than our other trips. And part of that is because, one, it takes a long time to get there. It's a long haul flight. It's about a day of 24 hours of travel at least. And then you got to kind of recover from that. And so I will be planning on 2 days of travel on either end. And so we have to factor in our time and energy and the cost for us, having a place to stay and as well. And then also the fact that because it is remote and beautiful and pristine, that's the main engine of their economy, and they charge accordingly. And so things they cost a little bit more there. And
a lot has to be shipped in from other places as well. So there's import prices.
Yeah. And lastly, because last time we went and we sailed to Bora Bora and back, and that's cheaper, but it's not as fun. I'll tell you why I don't. And so we're going to pay for the privilege of sailing it one way, and then somebody else will sail the boat back. When we went out there, we sailed to Bora Bora, and the lagoon is big enough that you can anchor in multiple places and sail to different destinations just inside the lagoon, which is pretty rare. Usually, a lagoon is kind of a one-stop spot. You might spend, there's one place to go. But like I said, the lagoon is big enough that you can actually explore around over multiple days inside. And then to come back, actually, this is where I'll just give the big context.
Yeah.
When you are sailing around the world, you're almost always going to be sailing from east to west. The part of that has to do with how the globe spins and prevailing winds. If you're going to be near the equator, you want to be moving east to west, because if not, then when you do that, you have the wind behind you, which is a much more comfortable point of sail, as we would say. The wind is behind you. It's sort of pushing you along. It's gentle. It's sort of lulling you forward. You kind of surf down the waves that come up from behind you. When you're going against the wind, you're sort of bucking and pounding into the oncoming wind. It's in your face. It's exciting for about 30 or 40 minutes. But if you get beyond 3 or 4 hours, it gets pretty tiresome. And I remember coming back on this first trip, sailing the boat back, and just feeling pretty rotten because I was getting seasick. And the last thing that I want for myself or anybody on one of our trips is to feel motion sick. And so we always plan the trips and the point of sail and the direction accordingly so that we're sailing in comfortable conditions in a comfortable direction.
You told me a story about heading back from Bora Bora to Raiatea, and the birthday man was at the helm.
Yeah, so my friend who was his birthday, he was at the helm, and the boat was on autopilot, but I think we were probably just motoring because, you can't sail directly into the wind. So we're just motoring. There's nothing tricky about it, no skill required to just motor the boat. But, you're just kind of pounding into the wind. And I was kind of hanging out towards the front of the boat, feeling worse and worse and worse. And my friend said, hey, Eric, you want to come back and take the helm? And it's like, in my head, I just thought, no, I actually don't. But I think he was feeling pretty lousy as well and probably wanted to go to someplace new, maybe get a little bit more comfortable and hopefully feel a little bit better. But as the skipper, of course, I'm going to be at the helm and I'm going to go and be responsible for the boat. And so just know that we want everyone to feel good on the boat for the entirety of the trip, ourselves included. And so we plan the routes accordingly. And that's part of the reason why we're going to go one way, east to west, and then fly home straight from Bora Bora.
I love that because it really helps me understand that if we were to sail it round trip and to go back to the marina that we started out of, we actually wouldn't be sailing for as many days because we would have to be motoring to get back into the wind. And so if you want to actually be sailing for all of those days, you want to work with the wind and with the water and the other benefit is that it's the most comfortable point of sail so that you don't get sick. That's why we go the one way, and that's why there's such the added fee to be like, now we got to fly a skipper out there to pick it up and motor all the way back here so it's ready for the next group that wants to have this incredible, gorgeous downwind lagoon sailing journey.
And also, I was talking with one of the companies that I partner with and found out that they offer this because it's a pretty rare offering. The only other place I know of where they do this is in St. Lucia, where you sail from St. Lucia down the Caribbean chain south to not the Turks and Caicos, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And then if you want to go all the way down to Grenada, you can. But then coming back is a pretty grueling haul. And so they purposefully will let you charter the boat and go one way, and then they have their own skippers bring it back. Because I remember on that trip, I also got seasick sailing it back. And so I'm with you people. If you're worried about motion sickness, I don't want to be that way either. And so if we ever go back to St. Lucia, that's how we'll do it. We'll do it a one-way straight south, and then we'll fly home from a different destination. But that's when I found out that they offer that in Bora Bora. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, like, that makes perfect sense to me. And yeah, for people who are concerned about motion sickness, your skipper will be the most likely to get motion sick. And so he's going to do everything working with the wind and the waves and the point of sail to make it comfortable for everyone, especially Especially our guests and friends, but also for yourself. You're like the canary in the mine shaft. You'll be the first one to know, no, we're going to adjust the sails here.
True story. True story.
So that's really good. Okay, so now let's talk about why it's worth it. Like, why is it worth it to fly halfway around the world to French Polynesia?
For the French fries.
They do speak French there. That's the dominant language, but you can also get by really well in English. I know that when I went, I was pretty nervous because I hadn't traveled that far before. I had made a travel to Europe and I had traveled to South America, but I had never traveled that far before, and I wasn't sure I even really trusted the pilots to be able to find a small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But they did it. They do it multiple times every day, and arriving, I just was a completely different climate and just beautiful flowers and palm trees, and I knew we had a big adventure ahead of us. And some of my favorite things there were like paddleboarding. When you're paddleboarding in a lagoon, it's so easy, and the water is just so beautiful, and there's very few other sailboats around. I mean, that's the definition of remote,
Yeah.
right? It's because it takes so much effort to get there, fewer people go.
Yeah. You earn it in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember we toured, there's a lot of beautiful things to see. We toured a vanilla farm and got to see, vanilla is one of their main exports, and got to see how it's grown and processed. And we came home with some local vanilla that, you buy vanilla extract in a bottle at the grocery store. Well, I don't do most of the grocery shopping, but I know when I cook or bake, you pour it out, but here it's like the actual vanilla bean that eventually gets turned into the ingredients that we use when we want that beautiful, delicious vanilla taste. But it was fun to see that growing in the wild, I guess.
Yeah.
And just realizing that flavor comes from a real place, and it's not just, I'm sure they can cook it up chemically, but to see where it comes from naturally is pretty special.
Yeah, how they protect it, how they preserve it, how they process it in the sun, and ship it off for the rest of the world to use. That is one of Madagascar is one of the places, but that is one of the few places where they grow the vanilla bean, and that was really cool. I really did love the snorkeling there. The water was so easy to just hop in and out of. It's so warm and so beautiful, that turquoise color. It's something that if you've seen a picture or you've seen a video of it, and then you compare that with actually being there yourself, very different things.
Totally different.
Very different things. It's like, no matter how many times you've seen the video, it's kind of unbelievable when you're actually there yourself. I know that one of the things I really loved doing there, which I've already mentioned, was paddleboarding. I was pretty new to paddleboarding in 2017, and it was so fun. It was so easy. You could go very, significant distances on your paddleboard because the water was so calm. Mm-hmm. And you can just see right through it, everything you might want to see. And one of the things for me that was a breakthrough moment was we saw a group gathered, and there was an excursion from shore where they had brought people out at a certain time of day to see stingrays or manta rays, I can't remember which kind of ray, and some small sharks, smaller than me. And it was like a feeding time, and we just paddleboarded over to it and got in the water. And I really want to stand here and let my brain see that my body is totally safe being in the water with these beautiful creatures, because for the first 35 years of my life, I was so afraid of sharks that I didn't go in the water and then into deep water. And I still have a healthy respect for the wildlife that is in the ocean, but I knew this was going to be a safe opportunity to get close. And that was a unique and special thing to be able to do in the lagoon in Bora Bora.
Yeah, it's just, the water is so calm in the sense that you're inside the reef, and most of the chop and swell that comes when you're sailing is when you're in open water, And here it's like you still get all the wind and the breeze because it comes right over the coral reef, but the water itself is like a big lake in a sense. And so paddleboarding and then when you got in with the rays and sharks, I remember it was up to our waist, but yet it's still like a mile in each direction of just sandy, shallow water, and so it was pretty mind blowing.
Yeah, that was incredible for me. It was a highlight moment. And there were some things on shore as well. You mentioned the Vanilla Farm, but we also went to this really fun restaurant called Bloody Mary's. And
For those of you musical trivia people, the musical South Pacific, there's a character named Bloody Mary, and she sings a song called Bali High, and that song is, her island is sort of based on Bora Bora. So if you want to geek out and go listen to the soundtrack of South Pacific, it'll sort of take you there.
this is a unique and beautiful moment that can only happen when you have a history of a career in Broadway theater and sailing. So
If you come on this trip, I might sing a song to you from South Pacific, if you ask nicely.
he did play the lead in that show at his high school. So
I am
probably-
Emile Debec,
Emile Debec,
the French
expat.
expat, yeah.
Oh,
Oh boy, I hadn't thought of that till now. So anyway,
Yeah, that's so fun. But at Bloody Mary's restaurant, it's a very nice restaurant, very high end, delicious food, beautifully presented, great ambiance. But what I love about it is that it's also so chill. Like the floor of this restaurant is all sand, so you come in barefoot, and guys are there in like polos and shorts and bare feet, and like you can wear shorts and a t-shirt or sundress, whatever, but you get to eat this delicious food with great ambiance just off the lagoon, and that was really fun.
yeah, and I remember, it was a wonderful dinner. We rented bicycles and rode around the island. I think we also rented
Twizzles,
Twizzles. It was like some people got scooters and we got this little four-wheeled.
or like three-wheel.
It was like one of these, like somewhere between a car and a scooter kind of a thing. And we just drove all over the island and got to see the whole thing. And I just remember that there was more there than I wanted to do that there wasn't time to do because we had to sail back, which is another reason why I want to extend the trip. Is we can, by dropping off the boat there, we can do more in Bora Bora. There's cool hiking. There's just so much more to see. And we really kind of scratched the surface. And so we've got a little bit of an itch ourselves.
That's a really good point. You don't have to spend half your days motoring back. You just stay there and continue to explore more of Bora Bora. And I just want to say one of the things that I loved that you can't get anywhere else is the people and the culture that is on Bora Bora. And I remember driving our little whatever it was,
Swizzle.
vehicle around and seeing these houses, seeing where the people live, and they might have a bright piece of fabric as the door or the window cover, not just a curtain, but like there's no glass. It's just the fabric, and what a high trust community that is. And everyone was so eager to help us figure things out or answer our questions. And I know we went into the grocery store, and yeah, I love seeing the beautiful views in nature, but I also love just imagining what it would be like to actually live here, which is what I do when I see the houses or go into a place like a grocery store where the people who live there every day are going. I also went into a fabric store. Remember?
I remember this very well. Yeah.
You can buy the sarongs all over the island, and I was like, I'll just buy a bunch of fabric and then cut it to be sarongs for the girls, and I just totally misread the pricing of the fabric. But it's such a fun, lively fabric, and I actually am not a big crafter, but I did sew it into just like a little pad or mat that goes in the center of a table, and I love to pull it out. We brought it to our expo because it's just like these fun, bright, tropical colors with big flowers that are just so characteristic of the fabric used and worn in these French Polynesian islands. So that was a super fun takeaway for me. Do you want to tell when we're hoping to make this happen?
Yeah, the trip is scheduled for March 8th through the 14th of 2026. So it's coming up, what is that, 5 months out? November, December. Well, by the time
and
this episode drops, it'll
this
be about
episode,
2.5 months out.
yeah,
So
second week of
anyway,
January.
we're gonna
this
go.
drops.
It's I think that's a 6-day trip, if I do the math. Yeah, and so we're excited to go back. It's a beautiful place, and if it's a good fit for your schedule, your budget, your interest,
Your dreams.
it'd be fun to talk and see if it's if it's a good match.
Yeah, it's a really, really special trip. So that's the end of us talking about going to Bora Bora. And if you want to go to Bora Bora, or you want to go somewhere else, and you want to have whatever kind of adventure in your life, we always think it's best to start by asking what could go right.
Hey everyone, before we sign off today, this is Eric Orton, and I just want to give you the sailing update. A few weeks ago, we put out our schedule for the whole year, all of 2026. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of trips that are coming up that I think are really worth remembering. We are going to be spending the winter in the British Virgin Islands, the BVI. So we're going to do a trip early January, late January, and February. And I love the BVI, and I'm going to tell you why. It is easy to get to. The sailing is world class. There's fantastic snorkeling. It's sunny at a time of year when, wherever you are in the world, January and February, chances are it's a little bit cold, a little bit gloomy. This is the perfect getaway for midwinter. So January 5th through the 10th, we're going to be in the BVI. We'll be there again January 26th through the 31st, and then again February 16th through the 21st. Another thing is, these will be our lowest price trips of the year. After these trips, prices jump to our new season setting. So if you want to get the best bang for your buck, BVI January 5 through 10, 26 through 31, or February 16 through 21. If you're feeling spendy, March, we are going to French Polynesia. We're going to do a one-way sail from Raiatea to Bora Bora. Bora Bora is gorgeous. The last time we were there was, I want to say, 2017, so we don't go very often. It's almost double the cost of our other trips. If you can afford it, it's super worth it, and it's beautiful. Imagine just like the biggest expanses of turquoise water and incredible sea life and fun restaurants and beautiful scenery. So if you want to go to French Polynesia in March, we're going to be there March 8th through the 14th. If not, if that's a little bit out of your range, which I totally get, our January and February trips to the BVI are going to be your best deal for the year. So click the button or just go to the Awesome Factory the Awesome Factory sorry, let me get this right. The Awesome Factory.nyc/sailing. That'll take you to the page that explains everything. Let's hop on a call, or you can email us at hello@theawesomefactory.nyc. Would love to sail with you in Q1 of next year. There's a couple of spots left on each of the BVI trips, so we'd love to welcome you aboard, and whether there or Bora Bora, either way, it'd be fun to sail together. Before we wrap up entirely, people go sailing with us, and I want you to hear from them directly what kind of experience they have. So here's a sailing takeaway from somebody who's gone sailing with us recently.
Everyone here has been just wonderful this week, just lovely people, and genuinely glad that we met you. But that was my apprehension, was spending a week on a boat with strangers.
A bunch of randos.
Yeah.
And who would go on us without knowing anyone? A
Bunch
bunch of weirdos.
Bunch of
Bunch of
weirdos.
randos.
So I teach sailing overnight classes, 2 days overnight class. And that's my biggest fear, is getting in the boat with people that are not going to get along, and then just be terrorized for those times. So, but it's been just wonderful. It's been just so delightful to get to know you all, and we spent some quality time with each other. I feel like I really know you guys really pretty well, even though we just met. So anyway, and the takeaway for me was just to be sailing in the catamaran. I really appreciated Eric letting me sail today. I've done a lot of sailing with monohulls, but this is so different, and just to get a feel for how a catamaran responds or doesn't respond.
Mostly doesn't.
Feel like you're sailing a refrigerator or something.
It's pretty glamorous.
Not all catamarans are like that.
Well, anyway, it's true. But just to get a feel for it, so getting some confidence that if I wanted to go down this route, I could probably learn it at some point. So that was my takeaway. And then if people thinking about doing this is great. You don't have to love sailing to do this. There's so many things that you get exposed to here. You can go on the islands and snorkel and hike and scooter. There's just so many different things to do here, and the area is just so beautiful. It's like every day is like a postcard. So.